after the first crops, 3 months, and into the second cycle, there's this freshness and the sparkle that emerges, and overwhelming testimony among the members. They say, we feel good. Yeah? And that feeling of goodness, and we feel healthy again, yeah, sparks them off into all sorts of other ideas, other than gardening as well. So the gardening is a launching pad. Now, that feeling good isn't just to do with the eating. It's also because they come together. People come together and we find each other, ourselves helping each other. We find ourselves supporting each other, understanding each other's problems. We find that we're not isolated. All of those things come in to the group organic gardening activity.
To better enhance micro-farming projects, coordination between HIV/AIDS programs and CSOs promoting urban micro-gardening need to be established.
Well, linking up with the other organizations could significantly help in addressing this scourge. We have organizations that are mainly doing agriculture, such as government departments, the Department of Agriculture. We have research institutions that research in issues of urban agriculture and even rural agriculture and food production in general. It would be significant to link up with these institutions to tap their skills. And KPG has done this quite well, because in our program we have strongly brought in the extension workers from agriculture to be part of the program. We have also brought in universities for purpose of research. And we've really linked up with NGOs and other support services at community levels, such as church organizations, to give pastoral support, so that a whole component of care, comprehensive care, is availed to the families in need.
Gardening in community centers, schools and clinics need to be promoted and utilized as training centers and seed production units to reach the wider community.
In the short term, we're needing to buy our seeds and our seedlings in, and over a 3-year period, as we develop the garden, we'll be setting up a nursery and raising our own seedlings, so we won't have that as an external cost either.
Various lessons have been learnt about the appropriate technologies for micro-farming. Techniques such as organic production, low-cost simple use of locally available materials, labor-saving trench gardens, fast-maturing and cut-and-come-again crops, space-saving containers are used, as well as rooftops, hanging bags and baskets. One can also save water using various methods such as water harvesting, reuse of household grey water, drip irrigation and cultivation practices.
All right, in order to attain some measure of sustainability relatively quickly, we need to look at other input costs. And two of the biggest costs with gardening are water, first of all. Municipal water is expensive. And secondly, compost. Now, water at this particular site becomes not such a problem if you look at the roof surfaces at a hospital. By harvesting rainwater and storing it in tanks or even in retention ponds, that water then becomes available around the year, so reducing that cost. Compost, we're going to obviously have to make compost, but again, living in this residential area, there's a lot of landscaping, a lot of lawn clipping, a lot of trees, branches and so on. All that material can be used for making compost, and of course the kitchens at the hospital will be generating a fair amount of waste. That can go into compost heaps. Working with earthworms is another dimension in a project like this. Earthworms are the silent laborers that work 24 hours a day, no leave, no pay, and they will also be exploited quite extensively. We would like to build large earthworm bins, long bins that can double up not only as earthworm compost production sites, but also as seats, so people coming to the garden don't know they're sitting on top of a compost production site.
New groups at survival level need a high level of subsidy to be successful. Things like tools, seeds and animals are required by many gardens and can be shared.
Our challenge is to be able to make the livelihoods of the people coming into the garden sustainable. So what we're hoping to do is raise funds that we can pay a stipend for those workers so that we can get a long-term commitment from them, so that they can actually go through the process of learning the methods of permaculture.
All the farms visited are living, working proof that urban microfarming is and will remain a success.
This study has opened my eyes somehow. I've seen, like in certain areas we have gone, where some zoning has really helped. For me, when I get back to Zambia, I've seen some land, some pieces of land which lie idle. If we negotiate in partnership with city councils and the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, maybe we can actually also have those lands zoned, where we can ask these households affected with HIV/AIDS to be given some plots so that they can grow the food. They're going to have their own food sufficient, and then they can sell the surplus to pay for the other bills which they require.
But I wish to appreciate or applaud the organizers of this workshop, because the two of us from Kampala, I think, have learned a lot from this workshop. We can now go and advocate for optimum use of land for urban farming to generate both food supply and income, because many of the people look at the income bit. They want to see money coming in, not necessarily what they are eating. They don't want to see, I've saved 1,000. They want to see, I've received 1,000, you know? So we have got a number of concepts during our visit here, and we believe part of the challenge that we are facing down there will be overcome.
Yeah, this trip has been very helpful. I must appreciate the organizers of this study visit, because it was such an eye-opener and very encouraging to know that sometimes it's not that people need a lot of input, but that people can make a difference if they are given the necessary support in order to also participate in addressing HIV and AIDS.
For me, and certainly for our organization, I'm going back to work with a whole new set of ideas that have been gleaned from around Africa. And I think this kind of conference needs to be repeated over and over again, because it's a chance not only to network, to meet people who are doing the other things and realizing that they've got the same problems, but to exchange ideas. I think that has been the most valuable exercise. I came thinking to myself, well, I wonder if I've got the time to spare, but I've actually gone away with a wealth of ideas, new information, and actually some kind of enthusiasm, renewed enthusiasm for the work that we do.
With the introduction of microfarming, the previously disadvantaged communities have been given hope for the future, with the means to survive and provide for their families.
Sambeni bataba. Sewone ngonya.